Images of what's being called an act of terror continue to grip the nation.
And all of a sudden it was like a cannon, went off.
We now know a restaurant manager, a graduate student, an 8-year-old boy all died in the bloodshed. Families are in mourning.
I couldn't ask for a better daughter. I can't believe this has happened.
Tonight, people grieve the lives lost, pray for the injured, and hope that whoever is responsible for the violent attack is brought to justice.
Anytime bombs are used to target innocent civilians, it is an act of terror.
We go live from Boston to get the facts right.
Good evening, I'm Valentina Wilson.
And I'm Wes Goforth. Welcome to News Channel 12 at 11. We now know the identities of those 3 people killed in yesterday's bombings at the Boston Marathon.
Another 176 people were hurt. Their injuries range from amputated limbs to shrapnel wounds. We go now live to get the very latest from Boston from Marcy Gonzalez.
Good evening. Still no suspect, still no answers in what the president calls a terror attack and so many others simply call heartbreaking. Just outside of Boston, American flags are dimly illuminated by candlelight, but the spirit and resilience of this city and our nation shine so brightly at this vigil for 8-year-old victim Martin Richard.
Everybody knows them, everybody loves them, it's just unthinkable.
In Medford, Massachusetts, the unthinkable is leaving this mother unable to hold back tears, remembering her 29-year-old daughter, Crystal Campbell, also killed in the blast.
I couldn't ask for a better daughter. I can't believe this has happened.
It is the agony and the questions reverberating through Boston tonight. How and why could someone put 2 bombs along the race route designed and placed to kill? ABC News has obtained this photo of a backpack the FBI believes one of the bombs was hidden in. Investigators now believe one of the IEDs was built using a kitchen pressure cooker packed with wires, an electronic circuit board, nails, and ball bearings that pierced victims' bodies and severed limbs. And while the design, experts say, is Al-Qaeda 101, investigators are baffled. No individual or group has taken responsibility.
The person who did this is someone's friend, neighbor, co-worker, or relative. Someone knows who did this.
The FBI relying on the public tonight, saying more than 2,000 tips have already come in, and they are following up on each one. Live in Boston, Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News. Now back to you.
So some new information being revealed tonight. In the middle of all the turmoil yesterday, heroes emerged from the rubble.
Many of the first responders, medics, and Good Samaritans are being recognized for their courageous efforts to save the victims. Off-duty doctors in the stands rushed to the scene. Surgeons, exhausted from completing the 26-mile run, also continued running back and forth, treating patients. 3 people were killed, more than 170 more injured, and many of those victims lost limbs. But doctors who've been working nonstop in the Boston area hospitals since the explosions say it's these heroic efforts that have made a huge impact.
Most of them are pellets. They are numerous. They're people who have 10, 20, 30, 40 of them in their body or more.
Marathoners without medical training also did not quit. They continued running to hospitals just to donate blood. The Red Cross says it has all it needs now to respond to this event and is actually turning people away now wanting to donate in Boston. 455 people from our state, North Carolina, qualified for that event, several from Eastern Carolina. We've been in touch with most of them in the last 24 hours. News Channel 12's Jamie Hicks caught up with 4 marathon runners from Craven County getting home today to hear about their experiences, and she's live in the newsroom now with the latest on it. Jamie?
That's right, Wes. I spoke with 4 runners from here in New Bern who described their experience as unforgettable. They say they're just happy to be home safe with their families.
The look on those people's faces was just sheer terror. You know, they just knew the end was near, and they were running for their lives.
Lucian Vaughn, Karen Green, Donald Spengler, and Danielle Oanu are 4 runners from New Bern. 4 runners who were at the Boston Marathon when the chaos broke out. Vaughn was a block and a half past the finish line when the first blast erupted. He says when he first heard the explosion, he stopped dead in his tracks.
Like a stampede. And there were people running and falling down, trying to get away as if somebody was shooting at them.
Daniel Awanu says just watching her children play baseball makes her realize how grateful she is to be home safe. She says after the explosion, the race came to an immediate halt, and being from out of town, she didn't know where to go.
Another woman stopped and she asked me if I needed a blanket. She just handed me a blanket out of her car and told me to use it and get warm. It was just, acts of kindness.
Awanu says she even used a stranger's cell phone to call her family in New Bern to let them know she was okay. Donald Spengler had finished 26 miles of the race and was just 2/10 of a mile away from the finish line when the first explosion occurred.
Had I been like 2 minutes faster, I think I would have probably been on Boylston Street and maybe involved in that whole thing. Who knows? But I guess through the grace of God.
Karen Green was the last to return to New Bern on Tuesday evening. It was an emotional time for family when Green arrived at the airport. She says she is just glad to be home.
I was 20 minutes from where the explosion happened, and I couldn't find my husband, and it was just a lot of. It was just hard, but I'm okay.
Now, 455 runners from North Carolina participated in the marathon and over a dozen from eastern North Carolina. Reporting live in the newsroom, Jamie Hicks, News Channel 12.
All right, Jamie, great to see our neighbors home safe tonight. Another local runner returned home tonight within just the last half hour or so. We caught up with ECU student Quinn Woodruff, whom I talked to by phone yesterday. Quinn's back home in Greenville tonight. He tells us what he felt yesterday, saying it reminded him of another scary American moment.
It reminded me a lot of September 11th, and just I guess for me it's just kind of a bittersweet thing. You finish the race, it's an amazing experience, and then all that happens, and it just really puts you in your place.
Well, Woodruff says he and his parents rode back from Cambridge, Massachusetts early today because of the events in Boston.
We do know that the FBI is investigating the bombings tonight, and we're getting the facts right on what the FBI is saying about the explosions. This is newly released video of the bombs by the FBI. This video just coming out tonight. The agency says the person or persons responsible likely used pressure cookers packed with shrapnel such as nails or ball bearings. The FBI is asking for the public's help, so anyone who attended the marathon and saw someone carrying a heavily weighted black backpack or duffel bag is asked to contact the agency. Investigators think the bombs were left on the ground in bags or backpacks. There's still no suspects tonight and no claims of responsibility from terrorist organizations. For all the latest on this tragedy, head to our website, WCTI12.com.
Well, our mid-April warmer weather is helping paint a very pretty picture of spring flowers in bloom around the east right now. Even the resurgence of the spider lily sculpture behind the New Bern Convention Center. We have more pollen-popping weather on tap for tomorrow. Skip Waters is tracking Storm Track 12 Live Doppler tonight.
We'll start with Storm Track 12 Live Doppler and show you that as the clouds have thinned out tonight, there's no rain out there. Thinking about sending the kids out to school tomorrow morning, it'll be mild. Temperature readings about 55, 56 degrees on the mainland side, closer to 60. Low clouds and fog around, but that'll burn off and most of the day should be mostly sunny. In fact, as we take a look at your planner for tomorrow, really looks like a very nice day. You're going to see the temperature reading in the 50s in the morning, mid-70s by lunchtime, and staying right there through the afternoon.
New at 11 tonight, an envelope that tested positive for the poison ricin was sent to Mississippi Republican Senator Roger Wicker's office on Capitol Hill. Officials say that letter was detected at an off-site screening facility for congressional mail in Washington. Now, it's being tested tonight for a fourth time at a Maryland lab. A law enforcement source says Wicker has been assigned a protective detail.
I think a security detail would be appropriate in light of the events, obviously. I think a lot of members of Congress have threats, and this one is certainly one to be taken seriously.
Well, Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill says tonight a suspect is in custody. Authorities say they do not believe that letter was related to the attacks in Boston.
An update on a story we've been following since December. A Camp Lejeune Marine is charged with murder for a deadly bingo hall shooting in Jacksonville. Investigators say 21-year-old Larry Forrest killed 65-year-old Kim Flournoy. News Channel 12's Allison Parker is live in our Jacksonville newsroom getting the facts right.
Val, I spoke with a couple of Kim Flournoy's neighbors tonight, and they say they're relieved that this case is starting to have some closure. But police say there's more investigating that needs to happen. After almost 4 months without an arrest, there's now developments in the case of Kim Flournoy's murder. Jacksonville police officers have arrested 21-year-old Camp Lejeune Marine Larry Forrest in her death. He's accused of shooting and killing Flournoy behind the TNT Beach Bingo Hall on December 30th. One of her neighbors, Catherine Helm, remembers Flournoy as a sweet, quiet woman.
All I can really say is that I'm thankful that prayers are answered and that they found the person who done this to such a wonderful woman.
But she also grieves for Forrest's family.
She didn't deserve this. No one deserves it. But I also give prayer to his family because his family's going to go through some things over what he's done and chose to do.
Another neighbor, James Jones, says Flournoy usually kept to herself but was nice to everyone she met.
She was a nice lady. But she was at the wrong place at the wrong time, I guess.
Police say other suspects were at the scene too. Jacksonville police officers could see from the surveillance video that this case is far from over. They say that other people were involved in this incident and are hoping to make more arrests. Police encourage anyone with information about this case to contact Crime Stoppers. I'm told Forrest is in the Onslow County Jail tonight being held without bond. Live in Jacksonville, Allison Parker, News Channel 12.
And Allison, we also talked to Camp Lejeune officials about Forrest's arrest. They say Forrest has been a suspect since January. They add that it's too early to speculate on what kind of action the Marine Corps could take against him.
News Channel 12 has obtained the 911 calls of that weekend bar shooting that left a Marine husband and father dead.
Who got shot?
We take a closer look into the desperate calls for help.
It should be right around 56 degrees to start you off tomorrow morning, 77 by the time we get to lunchtime, and 77 for dinner as well. Just in case you're wondering, that sunrise tomorrow morning, bright and early at 6:41, 6:33, setting at 7:43. Your forecast is next on WCTI News Channel 12.
Getting the facts right. You're watching News Channel 12 with Valentina Wilson, Wes Goforth, and Storm Track 12 Chief Meteorologist Skip Waters. News Channel 12. Getting the facts right. Alerting you to severe weather dangers in eastern Carolina. This is Storm Track 12 Chief Meteorologist Skip Waters.
Skies have cleared out nicely across the east, so there's no rain for us to track right now, but I will see low clouds and fog developing late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Not so much because of moisture left over from the very light rainfall that we experienced late last night and early this morning, but because our breezes are coming out of the southeast off the ocean, and that provides moisture that gets kind of trapped at the surface and grows up those low stratiform clouds and fog. Midweek warm-up comes our way tomorrow. We'll start with areas of dense fog and then progress to a mix of sun and clouds with highs near 80. It'll be warm again Thursday, mostly sunny in the morning, a mix of sun and clouds in the afternoon. It'll be warm Friday too, the highs near 80, but clouds roll in with rain and thunderstorms likely after midnight Friday night into Saturday morning. In fact, we'll elevate the threat tracker into the medium category for late Friday night, early Saturday morning, because some of the rain could be heavy and some of the storms could have strong gusty winds. None of that going on outside tonight. It's mild, already down to 59 degrees at Kenansville. Everybody else is in the low 60s. I suspect many of these low spots where the winds have gone calm and the skies are clear will probably do 55, 56 for lows tonight. Closer to the coast, it'll probably be more like 60. So you'll be starting off at about 56, 60 degrees in the morning, 77 by the noontime hour. Dinner time, we're at 77 degrees with a mix of sun and clouds. Skies have cleared out tonight, that's for sure. Not much upstream from us. There is a boundary that will drop down closer to us tomorrow and could cause an increase in the clouds north of US 264 tomorrow afternoon. But for the balance of the night tonight, I think it's going to be clear. Now, Future Track kind of sees that But you know what, as we get to 3 o'clock in the morning, that little light southeasterly flow off the ocean will cause us low clouds and fog to develop. That'll be with us for the morning commute and begin to burn off about 9 in the morning. Notice how as we move through the afternoon, the clouds thin out, mostly sunny, or at least a mix of sun and clouds. Sea breeze makes its way deep inland again tomorrow. Then tomorrow night, low clouds and fog develop. So into Thursday we go. It looks like the morning low cloudiness and fog will burn off. And look at this as we go through the day. Sunshine, breezy, warm. Sea breeze tries to move inland, maybe squeezes out a little quick shower, thunder shower. And then Thursday night into Friday, that flow ahead of the next system gets really strong. That'll cause increasing clouds and a chance of some showers blowing in off the ocean during the overnight into early Friday morning. No significant rain with this, just a few scattered showers. They'll become more numerous in the afternoon, but the real rain holds off until late Friday night into early Saturday morning. It comes in, takes through the morning into the early afternoon before it gets offshore, and then it clears out for a nice Saturday evening and Sunday. So moon and stars tonight with low clouds and fog developing later, mid to upper 50s. Tomorrow 80 on the mainland, 70 at the beach, low clouds and fog in the morning, then a mix of sun and clouds in the afternoon. 80 for the next 3 days, rain and storms. And some of the rain could be heavy, some of the storms gusty winds, followed by sharply cooler air for the first part of next week. 60s for highs, 40s for low, but that's still not bad. A little below the seasonal normal, but still not bad.
And we've learned just within the last half hour that gospel singer George Beverly Shea, who sang to millions at Billy Graham crusades, is dead at 104. According to the Guinness Book of Records, Shea holds the world record for singing in person to the most people ever, with an estimated cumulative live audience of 220 million people. A lot of people will remember that voice, Wes.
Well, absolutely. Big baritone with Billy Graham, Cliff Barrows and the Billy Graham Crusades, and a lot of people will be sad to hear that. But 104 years old, and he had a great life.
Long life, very long.
We're back in just a minute. Thanks for staying with News Channel 12 at 11. I'm Wes Goforth.
And I'm Valentina Wilson. New at 11 tonight, a Pitt County man is arrested for allegedly embezzling more than $80,000 from the company Provia. 63-year-old Daniel Kavanaugh of Winterville was employed as an office manager there from March 2011 until November 2012. Police say Kavanaugh embezzled goods and services by using business credit cards and writing checks to himself.
We're learning new details tonight about the shooting death of a Marine veteran at a bar in Havelock. He was working as a bouncer at Flyers when he was gunned down, allegedly by an 18-year-old Havelock High School student. For the first time tonight, we're hearing the frantic 911 calls right after the shooting. News Channel 12's Brian North is getting the facts right.
Who got shot?
It started with a fight. A couple of people kicked out. They left the premises.
Something happened in that fight. I don't know if it was a verbal threat or something was said, but for him to lock us in and tell us to quit serving, that's never happened.
Police say that 18-year-old Havelock High School student Jonathan Pugh returned with a gun.
I felt it, though. I swear to God, when Will got kicked out of here, I knew they were coming back in here with guns. I knew it.
Shots were fired. Everyone hit the floor in the bar located next to Havelock High School, except Todd North. He stood his ground and kept the shooter out.
I'm shaking.
2 other people were hit by bullets, North the most serious. His friends anxiously waited for help.
Please. I can't lose this.
North was transported to Carolina East Medical Center in New Bern, but died from his injuries.
It's going to be hard to imagine him gone.
I'm Brian North for News Channel 12.
A memorial service for Todd North is scheduled for this Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock at Cotton Funeral Home in New Bern. And we just learned late tonight that Cherry Point Command has now placed flyers and nearby bikers, beers, and babes off limits to all base personnel until further notice.
This week marks the anniversaries of some of the most violent attacks in our country's history. Today marks 6 years since the Virginia Tech shooting rampage. A college student went on a shooting spree on the campus April 16, 2007. Sung Hui Cho killed 32 students and faculty members and then took his own life. It is considered the deadliest shooting rampage in modern U.S. history. On April 13, 1993, the 51-day siege at the Branch Davidian compound near Waco, Texas ended as fire destroyed the structure. Federal agents smashed their way in. Dozens of people were killed, including sect leader David Koresh. April 19, 1995, a car bomb killed 168 people and injured more than 500 at the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols were convicted in the deadly attack. McVeigh was executed in 2001. Nichols was sentenced to life in prison. On April 20th, 1999, 2 high school seniors set off bombs and fired shotguns in Columbine High School in Colorado. 12 students and a teacher were killed, and 24 others were injured.
Well, people attending a press conference in nearby South Carolina got quite a little sight today.
Yeah, talk about dressing down for the event. We're going to explain this next.
Preparations are well underway now for the 2013 North Carolina Seafood Festival. Just a few hours ago, we got a first glimpse of the new official painting for this year's festival. And that painting is a work of artist Jim Storholt. Jim says he's overjoyed with his work, chosen as the festival's official painting for a 3rd time.
I still remember the first time. I really thought that was an honor then, and have been very pleased to have been chosen 3 times, and hopefully the things that I do for the Seafood Festival represents them well.
Well, they obviously do, Jim. Congratulations. This year's Seafood Festival will be held October 4th through 6th in Morehead City.
News conference in South Carolina about litter turns into a bizarre situation. While lawmakers promoted a zero-tolerance litter campaign at the South Carolina State House, this woman appeared sporting nothing but her bra and underwear and some walking shoes. You can't see those in this video. Officers quickly handcuffed her, as you see here. They escorted her away without protest. There's her purse. The 42-year-old woman was charged with disorderly conduct. There's no word on the reason for her half-naked display.
Yeah, there's the shoes. Probably getting a little warm down in Columbia, but I don't know if it's that hot yet. So. Well, we have a sports heavyweight to tell you about next. We will be right here.
And now, Drew Hinesley with News Channel 12 Sports.
Today we lost one of the greatest sports broadcasters to ever sit behind a mic, Pat Summerall, who was alongside John Madden for 21 years. Summerall was always the calm complement to the storm that Madden often brought to the booth. Summerall was the play-by-play voice for 16 Super Bowls, the last one in 2002. Summerall also called U.S. Open tennis, and I remember watching the Masters for many years and having Summerall welcome you back from a commercial break by adding his calm baritone over the soothing music of a Masters broadcast. Summerall died earlier today of cardiac arrest in a Texas hospital. He was 82 years old. For the 2nd week in a row, the ECU Pirates have the Conference USA Pitcher of the Week. But this week, it's dual threat Drew Reynolds who gets the honor. He and his teammates were trying to avoid a season sweep at the hands of UNC Wilmington tonight. The in-state rival in Greenville. And across our country today, everyone was mindful of those lost in Boston yesterday. Nick DeRozzo on the bump, and he hits the Wilmington batter in the first. Or does he? Closer look reveals it was nothing but a foul ball, but the runner is aboard anyway. A walk would load him. And then a force out over to second. But there's less than 2 in the innings, so that means the Seahawks plate 1, and they're up 1-0. Then line shot to left field would bring in 2 more. And just like the NC State game, Pirates down early 3-0. Pitcher of the week, Drew Reynolds, stepping into the batter's box. He's also the team's designated hitter before he steps into that phone booth. Slaps this one to right to get 2 Pirate runners on. A Zach Houchins walk would juice him. But unlike the Seahawks, the Pirates cannot capitalize, and the threat is thwarted. ECU almost turns a double play here. Fly ball to center field. The runner scampers a little too far off the bag, but he got that just in time. Pirates would end up losing this ball game by a final score of 7-2. D.H. Conley in Vanceboro taking on the Eagles. Millsy calls for the bunt, and he gets what he asked for right there. Runner's out of the baseline, he's out, but runner moves over to second anyway. Then the wild pitch moves him over to third, and then a Martin base hit would score him. Then Martin going to lose his helmet sliding into second, but it's third base that really gave him some issues. Heads over there, slides in, and he pulls the bag up out of the ground. They had a hard time getting it back in, but when they did, D.H. Conley won the game 4-2. That's all for sports tonight. Final check of your forecast with Skip after the break. You're watching News Channel 12 at 11.
The moon and stars above us for another hour or two. With the moon, it'll go down. Low clouds and fog develop. 50s for lows, close to 60. 80 tomorrow. Low clouds and fog early, then a mix of sun and clouds. It'll be 80 for the next 3 days.
We're going to ride the wave of up and down temperatures. Thanks for joining us.
Time for Jimmy Kimmel Live. Good night.